Model guns in Japan profiled by Lucifer7922. This video introduces a Japanese toy gun. The toy guns I introduce are called model guns in Japan. It is called a cap gun by the world standard, but I call it a model gun. Vz61 is a submachine gun developed in Czechoslovakia. The bullet to use is .32 ACP. I hear that it is used by special forces because of its excellent portability, but I have no further knowledge. Rather, I guess European viewers are more familiar. This model gun was launched in 1981 by HUDSON, a Japanese toy gun maker. The actual gun is a closed bolt type, but this model gun is an open bolt type. The main body is made of zinc alloy and has a wooden grip. At the time of release, the manufacturer had announced that it had semi-automatic and full automatic functions. However, the reputation of the buyer was very low. I bought this model gun because of low rating. There is no dissatisfaction that it does not work as expected because it is based on low evaluation. However, the attitude of the manufacturer towards the buyer is problematic. I want to report including that I purchased it on December 31st, 2007. The price is around $220 at the current rate. There was a printed matter that calls attention when opened. I was surprised at the content, but again when I found an obvious typo. If this is not a typo, it will be a sentence that does not make sense in Japanese. Typographical errors are shown on the left screen and the character which seems to be correct is shown in the right image. Also, this is not the mistranslation often seen in recent years. I replaced this typo with the correct one I think and translated it into English. Attention! We are very sorry, but we do not recommend blowback with this product. This product uses the old piston fire cartridge system, so the blowback performance is significantly lower than that of the current CP system. Full blowback of this product requires excellent model gun knowledge. Please understand without evil. In 1981, Japanese products had already been highly evaluated around the world. Made in Japan, this word was synonymous with excellence and the pride of Japanese manufacturers. I am ashamed that such an organization existed in such Japan. And I would be grateful if you could see it as advice to overseas people who got this model gun unfortunately. The basic language I use is Japanese. I'm not sure if it can be correctly communicated in English, but please guess by looking at the images. The biggest mistake in the basic design is that the axis is too wide. If you don't address this, the next step is meaningless. However, this is a consequence theory. I also made a mistake. The first thing I did was design the cartridge. The regular cartridge has an extremely tapered shape as shown in the left image. I compared it with .32 ACP. I thought a little, but decided to imitate the outline of a regular cartridge, because I thought there was some basis. However, I could not understand the internal structure of the regular cartridge at all. Therefore, the internal structure adopted the CP method that had a track record of MP40. This is defined as type CP. Ignore the time series to make this report easier to understand. Later, another prototype was made. Type Lucy. Type CP uses an O-ring and the body is divided into two. Type Lucy adopts the Marushin method and the body is integrated. The cartridge is now ready. However, the movement of the magazine was poor. The cause was found to be on the magazine floor, so we prototyped the magazine floor in Dolrin. This has improved the movement of the magazine. Attempting to manually supply the cartridge into the chamber by attaching the magazine to the main body is impossible. Here I noticed that the width of the axis was too wide. If you were trying a regular cartridge, you should know immediately. But I didn't want to try that internal structure. Obviously my mistake, but before that the manufacturer should be aware. You must have noticed, of course. That's why the cartridge had an extremely tapered shape. However, it is a disadvantage that cannot be avoided with the tapered shape. It was necessary to stop the sale or collect it. However, the manufacturer did not do it, and thought that it could be solved by printing. Japanese at that time never liked conflict. So I thought it was fine. It is very embarrassing. I will explain what happens if the axis is too wide. The red circle in the right image is the axis width. Look at the figure on the left. The cartridge is pushed to the left by the bolt. If the axis width is ideal, the cartridge is guided into the chamber along the slope of the bullet guide. However, the cartridge crashed into the front of the bullet guide because the axis width was wrong as shown in the right figure. Originally, such a phenomenon should be able to be confirmed by the designer on the drawing. However, it must have been discovered since it became a product. As a countermeasure, we prototyped a chamber with an eccentric opening. At the same time, we also prototyped a firing pin. And the bullet guide was deeply cut. As a result, the cartridge can be inserted into the chamber. Looking back now is not optimal, but I thought it was a good way at the time. The prototype chamber and the firing pin are made of titanium. Now you are ready. It is a test firing. The first is type CP. I fired 13 fires in the first shot. The magazine has 20 cartridges, which is a good result. But that doesn't last. The causes are intricately intertwined, but the most likely factor was broken O-rings. We have to work on solving the problem. But I was driven by another urge. Type Lucy. I could not help trying this. I remember this test shot clearly. 16 shots were fired. The sound was completely different from the conventional cartridges, and it seemed to growl. I was excited. However, Type Lucy does not follow well. The cause is clear. The firing pin and inner parts were melting. At that time, the cause of the melting of the firing pin and inner parts was unknown. However, I guessed that the cap gun used later was the cause. It's really much later. There are two brands of commonly used cap gun powder. The manufacturer is the same, but the ingredients are different. The powder in the cap on the right contains iron powder to improve the appearance when ignited. Probably, the iron powder melted and fused to the firing pin and inner parts. It was incorrect to determine that the firing pin and inner parts had melted. I decided to stop using Type Lucy. If you think now, this judgment is wrong. However, at that time there was no other choice. I decided to try again with Type CP. For that, some improvement plans are needed. First of all, An escape route for the damaged O-ring was provided in the chamber. The ejector was prototyped with titanium. An extractor was prototyped with titanium and stainless steel. Finally adopted stainless steel. Lead is embedded to make the bolt heavier. The recoil plate has been made thinner. Replaced recoil spring with weak one. Test firing is resumed with type CP again. If you listen now, it sounds humorous. It's a bit embarrassing. But I was really surprised. Do you know what happened? Both cocking pieces broke at the same time, and the bolt bridge cracked. Since it was not fatal, we dealt with it individually. The cocking piece was made of titanium and the spacer was made of Teflon. A through hole was made in the bridge part of the bolt, and the shaft was embedded. I resumed test firing. And I thought that time had come, but London in a foggy city? No, this is Japan. Oh my God! Do English-speaking people express this way? In Japan, we use the words of famous comedians.
ダメだこりゃ。
I did not understand the cause of the blurred image. However, I am not convinced as it is, so I will continue testing. This test shot caused the worst situation. The bottom of the bolt has broken, and the bridge is about to collapse. The expression of fatal injury is appropriate. Do you drink beer? I love beer. I hear that Japanese beer is delicious, but I don't know. Return the story. I thought for 2 days. And he tried to repair it. Of course, I didn't keep drinking beer. Only one side was broken, but both were scraped off. Then, make 2 through holes on one side. Make a rectangle with titanium. Drill a hole in the rectangle and bolt it with a dowel pin. In addition, the front of the bolt is bridged, and the O-ring is attached to the rear as a shock absorber. It looks like a cyborg. Now it's time to restart the trial. God damn! This is an extractor spring, but terrible. Replaced with a knock-type ballpoint pen spring. Cut it out. There are 20 shots with real guns. But this cartridge was able to load 22 shots. It is a perfect test shot. There are 2 more cartridges available. It is type Lucy of aluminum and titanium. Everything is over. Let's watch the shooting scene in digest. Thank you for watching until the end. Let's meet again. Goodbye.